This is an Audio Wool original.
This episode of Frightday is brought to you by Gates of Hell Chipotle Hot Sauce by Frightday. Bold chipotle flavor blended with habanero peppers for just the right burn. Kissed with garlic and passion fruit. Zero human blood, like none at all. Visit shop.frightday.com before the first batch disappears.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you'd like to support us, go to patreon.com/frightday.
Oh boy, oh boy. Squeak, squeak. I hate these.
Squeeze,
I hate these arms. Excuse me. Last week I bumped my mic like 6 times during our report. I hate these things. Why can't we have a studio again?
This is a studio.
No, Kelly, this is your daughter's playroom. It is Friday. It is Frightday. I'm your host, Byron. Moving to the city to attend university might seem like a dream. The freedom, new experiences, and friends, pleasant stuff. But what happens when disappointment and harsh reality creeps in? The kind of things that might cause you to miss home or lose sleep. At the risk of sounding hack, it seems those ambitious dreams and expectations might just turn out to be nightmares. Echoing from those whose footsteps might have initially seemed alluring, as the grass is always greener on the other side of the pond. Even though both of our leads in this are from England, we'll talk about that tonight as we review Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. I'm joined tonight by Kelly.
Hi there.
And Sam can't make it because he's auditioning some new talent. Get that pen out of your mouth, Kelly.
Sorry. I had a really good thought about the podcast, and I wanted to write it down before I forgot it.
You want to share it with me?
Nope.
Okay.
It's kind of connected to what I said I was going to do to test my marriage.
I really am not supportive of that decision, but
That's okay.
run it by our good old psychiatrist. That would be a good idea. The look on your face says that
I'm really hoping I can
not
make
gonna do
enough this
that.
year to hire him as the psychiatrist for all of my clients.
That seems manipulative.
Manipulative requires strategy. I have no strategy in my life.
I guess he does have enough of an internal compass to not let your will determine.
Well, no, here's the thing. I really think more kids need him, and he won't work with kids, so I would just absorb all of the liability, and I would make parents sign releases to say that you're not going to be able to deal directly with him. Anyhow, it's my plan. It's my plan. So how you been? You were running in the dark in all black. Can somebody email Byron and tell him that it is unsafe to wear all black while running?
I have reflectors.
At dusk.
I wasn't wearing them.
Yep. So then what the fuck kind of a defense is that?
Well,
it's a bad defense.
I didn't want to be seen by people. And turns
so
out...
then run in the middle of the woods where you can't get hit by a car
I don't
either.
want to do that. That's where the bears are, Kelly.
The bears are all sleeping right now.
I wish I was. I'm a big exhausted. It's been a busy week.
It has been a
Dropped
busy week.
so many things. This might be 2 weeks now, but we have released something.
Just throwing gems.
It's great. We had
throwing them.
I've been doing a handful of interviews. We did Gracie
You're doing great
Gillam.
interviews. I'm really proud of your
We got
interviews.
Clay Tatum. This thing that's
Amazing.
premiering at Slam Dance, The Civil Dead. Brandon, we released our interview with him from Camp Frightday because his movie.
Oh my gosh, do you know when you Google interview with Jeff Meldrum, we're number 2?
Well, yeah, we've got a pretty popular YouTube interview at this point.
That just surprises me. That's very exciting to me.
You are the Montana. Stop playing it.
I don't know. I got really excited about it. I'm sorry.
Montana Bigfoot Authority, and soon to be the MUFON representative. I'm
Look at all those comments.
very much working on it, Kelly. But yeah, this has been it's been a blast. I'm happy to be jumping into the new year neck deep in Frightday. Brandon's new movie's out, by the way. Superhost. Physically. Go get it.
Can Brandon change his name? I'm just having a lot of visceral reaction to the name Brandon these days.
Well, listen, if you were a viewer of the Casual Frightday stream, you may have heard several tunes about a guy named Brandon. How we should be cheering him on, right?
Nope.
Superhost. I'm actually, I don't know if I can say this. I think in the interview with Brandon, he announced that he is working on his new movie. I just so happen to have booked a ticket to the location where he is filming it, and I will be doing a set visit. Can I talk about that? I am.
You are talking about it.
So we're going to have some scoops about that.
I love a good scoop.
And also, I guess I should say that I'm going to be at South by Southwest if it remains physical.
I don't understand how it can happen if Sundance didn't happen.
Don't say that to me. I might be cripplingly depressed if, again, it is physically canceled. But I agree that if there's a health concern in going, that I probably shouldn't attend. We'll see what happens.
I've become more like Sam in terms of my reclusiveness and comfort level with being a hermit, but I really do miss
people.
Well, no, not all people, but I miss the kind of people that go to Overlook Film Festival
There's something about it. We'll see. This year's looking pretty cool. We also have to schedule time to go over to Ohio to visit Seth as well. But
yeah, I actually spoke to Creature and Puckwudgie about that, and they basically threatened to kill me in my sleep if we didn't bring them.
I don't think we can bring your children.
Well, they can play with Tommy.
I guess we should talk to Seth about that.
Yeah.
Probably. We will. Well, I didn't intend for the opening of this episode to be a housekeeping thing, but
housekeeping.
Turns out it's
hey Sam, put away these videotapes.
Why are you yelling at him? He just started.
It's easier to yell at people when they're not here.
Sam seems to be busy.
Well,
he's
auditioning
all that talent in the back room.
No.
But that's
really grim. That has grim implications, what you just said.
These DVD copies of What a Girl Wants aren't going to put themselves away.
Yeah, that is not a good one.
It's time for staff picks.
They say so much, but they never tell you if it's any good.
Werewolf movie with E.T.'s mom in it.
The Howling, horror, straight ahead.
How do you decide what one you're going to use every time?
It's usually related tangentially to the film in title or content. But it's always something taking place between the years of 2000 and 2005.
Okay, that's hilarious.
I picked these movies based on films that were on the main wall when I worked at a video store.
You're very strange.
It was the last generation that did.
I know. I was trying to explain to the kids last night the idea of you can only watch a show at the time that it's airing. And
oh, wow.
They're like, what? That doesn't make sense. And I was like, I don't even know how to explain this.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to explain to someone who's been VOD'd their entire life.
Yeah, I was like, you get instant gratification with any time you want to watch something. But I had to wait 6 days and 4 hours to make sure that I was tuned in at exactly the right time to watch the new episode of Scooby-Doo that I wanted to see.
Or Sex and the City, you waited for the box set.
No, I never did that.
You watched them as they came?
Yeah, I had a really good friend that I worked with who was like, I lived on campus, he had a house off campus, and we would make dinner and drink Cosmopolitans and watch Sex and the City.
And this was your boyfriend?
No, this was the birth of my love for gay men.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
Well,
who knows, honestly.
Another story there.
Did you fall in love with that gay man?
No, I was just going to mention that one of my boyfriends ended up being gay.
Oh,
so
really?
It would
Which,
have been
a high school one?
No, like a in-betweener one.
It's so hard to find a good horror film that's set in London.
Really?
At least for me. I mean, there's the obvious ones. American Werewolf in London, which I still haven't seen. 28 Days Later, The Omen, even the film that broke Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead. You know, an opportunity to attack the block is always fun, but it's a bit too sci-fi. One that I've seen that not many have is a werewolf film called Howl, but it's fine. I think I talked about it way back on the show. It's not great. So I scrapped this London idea, even an England idea. I headed south.
What?
And I ditched my premise altogether, landing in Barcelona.
You ever been to Barcelona?
I haven't. I know.
It's a beautiful place.
Is that right?
It's one of my favorite cities.
Wow. Maybe you should check out this found footage vampire film that not enough people have seen.
Can you explain to me now what the fuck this has to do with last night in Soho?
I just started north and headed south.
All right, so you're on a Kelly road today.
It seems like
Good for you.
With a film called Afflicted.
All right, I'm Cliff Rose.
And I'm Derek Lee, and tomorrow we're going on a year-long trip around the world!
We're going to film the entire thing, and we're going to post it online as a travel blog.
It's going to be epic.
Oh my god. Derek. Oh my god.
Get in the ambulance, Cliff! We gotta get out of here!
You are under arrest.
Let's go.
I don't want to stop the trip.
You're freaking me out right now. Just stop. We should be at the hospital.
There is nothing they can do.
Let's just go home.
No, we're not going home. We're not going anywhere.
I have no idea what's going on with Derek.
Okay, I am at 60 kilometers an hour! Woo!
But what he did should be impossible.
Wow. Far better than the clothing company that I'm sure Zach Baggins has stock in. This Canadian found footage film is about two best friends, Derek and Cliff.
So hold on, Canadian found footage
based in Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
All right.
So let me tell you how they got there. It's these friends, Derek and Cliff. They're planning to travel the globe and live life to the fullest. But only days into their trip, one of them shows symptoms after a weird night. He gets a mysterious illness, and they rush to find the source before it completely consumes him.
Okay.
It's been a bit since I've seen this film, but I remember really enjoying it, especially the fact that the camera is in the hands of someone who's slowly losing their humanity. I thought that was a really cool perspective for a found footage film. It's written, directed, and starring these two guys, Derek Lee and Cliff Prowse. You know, it's a cool, small movie that I don't think enough people have seen. So if you're itching for a found footage film, maybe try to find Afflicted.
I actually would probably watch that. It sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was 2013, right at the peak of that found footage thing. I remember it standing out.
That's cool.
Why not?
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all. Mine's way more connected than you.
Probably.
So this is just very interesting to me that somehow I've been...
Flip-floppery here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the movie that I picked is not only British,
Okay.
but also follows a very similar storyline. Like, I just went really matchy. But as I like to do, it's an old one.
That was my guess.
1960. Here's the idea. There's this guy who works in a British film studio, but when he's not working, he supplies a local adult film shop with photos and also kind of
lurid?
Yes, and does his own like filmmaking. The 60s could be a bit scandalous, right? And this was 1960, so this was kind of like front end of scandal.
Widely known as being swinging, right?
It was very swinging. Yep. It was made in the era that part of Last Night in Soho was set, so like it matches pretty well there.
Soho.
But we find out that this interesting man, he was abused in some very strange ways as a child. He's obsessed with fear and what fear looks like on a person's face and in the way they behave. And that's kind of the subject of his amateur filmmaking. He has this 16 millimeter camera that he takes around, and
That's the same millimeter that Zach Baggins shot his first film, Red Butterfly.
he makes his own movies, and those movies become increasingly horrifying. So I don't want to
Is
spoil
it because
anything.
he's trying to meet the demand for what people want, or is it just a dark road that he's fallen down?
He's trying to fill his own dark.
Personal.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
What's it called again?
Oh, no, it's not again. I haven't said it yet.
Yeah, that was kind of...
It's called Peeping Tom.
Heard a lot about it.
Yeah, it's actually a really good movie, and you can watch it for free on Tubi.
Did you know in our year-end countdown, we didn't say the name of a film?
Which one did we skip the name of?
I think it was one of yours.
No doubt.
It was Come True.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you-
didn't say Come True.
you
Oh
left the
God, I
name
am
of
so
Come True
sorry.
out,
I'm
so-
very sorry. And normally Byron catches when I do stupid things like that.
That day was weird. We were kind of rushed.
We were really rushed. We were very,
For
very
our
rushed.
year-end spectacular.
Can I give you a really fun quote from Peeping Tom, though?
Please do, yeah.
Our Peeping Tom lead, he says, "Do you know what the most frightening thing in the world is? It's fear."
Is that on the poster somewhere? I
don't think
imagine
so.
it's a tagline of sorts.
I don't think so, but it's interesting because it's a bunch of actors that went on to do some pretty interesting things. Our lead lady, Anna Massey, plays Helen Stevens. She was in a lot of stuff, but one of the things that people might recognize her from was Mrs. Shrike in The Machinist.
Oh, it's been so long since I've seen that. The only thing that I remember is that arm being ripped open.
I just
spinning on that
remember,
lathe.
like, how did Christian Bale survive that? I don't know.
Well, an apple a day turns you into a machinist.
A machinist,
apparently.
yeah. It's got a lot of like very traditionally trained British actors, and even the director was like a very old school British. So the whole vibe of this is very much like Last Night in Soho, because it is just deeply entrenched in Brithood.
And is that a vibe that I appreciate? We'll talk about that pretty soon. Well, actually, we'll talk about it very soon.
Very soon?
Because it's time to close this freaking shop. But before we do that, we're going to step into the back room and welcome. And sorry, I know.
Now you're just creeping me out.
I
Talking
apologize.
about Sam doing interviews back there. I don't even know what the fuck he's interviewing about.
Time to welcome and initiate some new folks into the Frightday Society.
Oh, we can do that. We can do that.
Jesus.
Who are we initiating?
Stupid son of a bitch. It's so funny every time. Joshua H. I'd like to welcome and initiate you to the FDS. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Joshua H., I actually have a pretty serious request for you.
Oh no, what is it?
That doesn't involve crickets at all.
It's my phone.
Yeah, well.
It's my Marty Bird ringtone.
Oh my God. I haven't watched the new ones, so just be
either.
quiet.
We'll talk.
My parents binged them, and I can't even talk to them
Ozark.
right now.
It's out now.
Yeah. Archive 81, though, also worth binging.
All right.
Okay.
Well.
So I am going to be doing an incredibly in-depth series, and I need you to listen to a very specific interview and find whether the information in it is scientifically accurate or not. And it's an interview that Art Bell did with Al Bielek. So I need you to find that audio, I need you to listen to it, and then I need you to do the scientific background on it. You don't have to do the math background.
Wow,
I've got the math part, but I need you to do the science background. And I need an email with notes about whether it is accurate or not, with a couple links that I can go to.
This is such a fun process that they've signed up for.
Sorry guys, it's very serious. I need serious help with it.
Well, another person looking for an assignment, Amy B. Thank you so much for joining the FDS.
Yep, and Amy B, it turns out, so Art Bell did 2 separate interviews with Al Bielek. I need Joshua to do the first one.
Okay.
And I need you to do the second one.
Jesus.
Okay.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much for signing
I
up.
genuinely really need the help, so I hope they take this seriously.
Yeah, all right.
Like,
well,
it's super important. Don't worry about spelling or grammar. Just make sure I can kind of understand what you're saying.
it's time to close up shop.
I really
because-
appreciate all of you, except for Byron.
Rude, okay?
I appreciate you, Byron.
Well, now you do the segue out then. Fuck it.
It's time to close the doors today on this
Are you
video
doing an Alex
store.
Jones impersonation? What's going on?
I don't know what impersonation I'm doing. I really still want to do the Ben Shapiro.
Well, we're gonna close the door today
That's
on
enough. You're
this.
gonna get us bad reviews again.
I know.
You're
People
always
hate
the
me.
reason.
I'm always the reason.
Someone called you stupid.
I know that, but see,
Did
here's
you
the
see that
difference.
one?
Yes, but here's the difference between you and I. It doesn't offend me. I'm
I
okay
know-
with it.
Well, I know that. I mean, listen, doesn't matter.
Can't learn about yourself from other people, Byron.
Unless you're acting like a fucking idiot.
Nope. Still can't learn about yourself from other people. We're going to close up shop and we're going to go eat some Turkish delight like they do in London in the 60s.
As we review Last Night in Soho. Jesus.
We hope you're enjoying your visit here this evening. Now, on with the show.
The first part of this movie was so cute.
Last Night in Soho is a 2021 British psychological horror film directed by who's this guy? His name's Edgar Wright.
Who's that girl?
Co-written by Edgar Wright and Christy Norma Leslie Wilson Carnes, a Scottish screenwriter. An aspiring fashion designer is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s, where she encounters a dazzling wannabe singer. However, I would say that she sings pretty well.
Yeah.
The glamour is not all it appears to be, and the dreams of the past start to crack and splinter into something far darker. And it just may take 45 minutes to get there. Edgar Wright, I don't think we need to go too much into
What?
it.
You threw that 45 minutes thing in, and that was real passive aggressive.
It was a little passive
I didn't like
aggressive.
that.
What do you?
Why the fuck did you do that?
What do you feel about Edgar Wright? For the most part, I think he's a pretty talented guy. You know,
Yeah.
did a lot of TV in the UK, and then eventually collaborated with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost on very popular film Shaun of the Dead.
I like this much better than Shaun of the Dead.
I think after Shaun of the Dead, I went back and watched Spaced, which was an early stream on Netflix, I believe. Have you ever seen that?
No, definitely not.
It introduced me to like the living situations in the UK and how the people who rent have very strict rules about who they let stay at their places, and that kind of echoes in Last Night in Soho as well.
Yep.
Scott Pilgrim, Ant-Man.
Okay, Baby Driver is clearly his best work.
I love.
So I don't know why you're not talking about that.
Well, we can talk about that. I was at the world premiere of Baby Driver, where I fell in love with a very handsome man, John Hamm.
He is.
I believe I gave him a 5.
I was going to make a really inappropriate comment, but
about
I
his
didn't.
big old hog that is always in his pants.
I wasn't going to. Nope.
You've seen the pictures, right?
Oh yes, I have.
Of course you have.
I just wasn't going to talk about it.
Well, I know you're thinking about it.
Yep. Do you know that Edgar Wright also did one of the trailer segments in Grindhouse?
Yeah, he did. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Busy guy's done a lot of great stuff.
He's going to do The Running Man, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah.
Because I never really got into the original one, but
the Schwarzenegger
like
one?
the older that I get, was it Schwarzenegger?
In Running Man?
I don't remember who did it originally.
Hot Fuzz was fun.
Hot Fuzz was fun. I really like that.
Running Man is definitely a Schwarzenegger
Is it
flick.
Schwartz?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's one of those that I feel like I should get into now that I've embraced more sci-fi in my post-marriage life because my husband's such a sci-fi geek.
Yeah, he likes it.
I just like expanding my Venn diagram. So I've been getting into that, and I feel like Running Man would be a fun one. You know, with him in control, I'm sure it's going to be great.
We can't not talk about Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Do you know I've never seen that?
I think you'd really enjoy it.
It seems very much a me movie.
Super fun.
Right?
I mean, we got Kieran Culkin's in it, and I know how much you love Kieran from Succession.
Oh, I do love that show.
And I love it. I love it because of Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Brie Larson and Aubrey Plaza and Alison Pill.
Wow, that's really your movie.
Pretty
No wonder you
stacked
love
cast.
that one.
It's a lot of fun, but it's led by Michael Cera. You know, we're not
Yes.
seeing a lot of him
No,
lately.
didn't he like turn into an asshole or something?
I don't know about that. I
feel
think
like he
he's a
did.
recluse more than an asshole.
Oh, I thought he was an asshole.
Nah.
You know what he was really good in though was Twin Peaks: The Return. He was great in
See,
that.
couldn't be an asshole if he's in that.
I don't know. There's some assholes in that.
Does Lynch work with assholes? All of that aside, here
Sure
we
he
are.
does. Works with good people too.
Edgar Wright, very, very talented guy.
Can we also talk a little bit, because I know you're going to want to talk about our two young leads. I want to talk about our older lead, Diana Rigg.
Okay.
Bond girl. She was a Bond girl. And I think that's really cool. When
You love Bond girls. I don't give a single shit.
Well, so here's the
I don't
thing.
care.
Can I give an explanation for why I love Bond girls?
Yeah.
So Bond girls, it's kind of like the pinnacle of objectification of women,
Yeah.
like the storyline,
I mean,
like
up to
what they had to
up
look
to the
like.
late 90s, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the most recent Bonds, Daniel Craig's kind of moved the needle a little bit. I think Rachel
In
Weisz
terms
has been like,
yeah.
do a better job, Daniel. And so he did. But the point is that it's a very good example of how women have been treated in a lot of media history.
As sex objects?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And for her to evolve, have the perseverance and the resilience to go through that, I'm sure it was not a pleasant experience. She had a badass role on Game of Thrones. Like, she was one of my favorite characters, and I think played it so brilliantly. And she's done plenty of stuff in between too, but these are just kind of the high points that I have seen her in. Mm-hmm. And I really like that she has very clearly defined herself as something much more than a two-dimensional, very pretty Bond girl. This was her last piece. Sadly, she passed away last year.
Really?
Yeah, in 2020,
We're
right after
talking about
filming this.
the woman who...
The landlady.
Yeah.
Yeah, our landlady, Miss Collins. So Diana Rigg. Anyhow, I also think it brought an interesting dimension to the story, because what was happening to Sandy in these ghost flashbacks was probably something pretty similar to what was happening to Diana when she was a famous British actress in the 60s. I'm sure that there was a lot of Me Too that she experienced. It just added some interesting dimension to the story and those involved.
Yeah.
It was great. Diana Rigg's great.
She is great, but we got some young talent in here too.
We do. I'll never understand why people think Matt Smith is attractive.
I don't think that people think it's, I mean, I guess sound off in the comments here and hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at Frightday.
People think he's real, and I know I just got done saying that my husband's obsessed with sci-fi, but Doctor Who is one thing that we haven't gotten
Can't
into.
do it. It's not
Well, it could be really cool. I have no idea, but for me right now, it feels like football. Like everybody else seems to enjoy it, and I don't understand why. It's just not my thing. And people are obsessed with him. In fact, I think his girlfriend is like absurdly beautiful. I'm pretty sure.
He's definitely got unique characteristics,
like a Neanderthal-sized forehead.
Okay, leave him
He's a good actor.
Yeah, he is
good actor.
He's great in this. Yeah.
But I do think it's, again, interesting.
But I mean, he's supposed to be sweeping people off their feet in this.
His face is the face of a skinny caveman, like a starving caveman. Okay?
What's a failing caveman?
Right, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
He can look like that and still be considered like a sex symbol, and women have just such a different.
We'll get into him.
Anyhow,
we'll get into his character here. I want to start with Eloise a little bit.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. She
played by
was,
Thomasin McKenzie.
God, she was good in this.
She's a New Zealand actress. I don't really know much about her. I don't think I've seen her in much. Jojo Rabbit, she was in that.
Did you watch Jojo Rabbit?
I did. It's a pretty enjoyable film. Recently, she was also in Old, the M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes,
thing.
which I haven't seen yet. So you did see that,
I did
right?
see it. It was
your thoughts on that? Not good, right?
Byron watched it. Remember, it was a casual watch. I just kind of had it in the background. It was one of those films that I didn't really need to pay too much attention to.
She was also Astrid in The Hobbit.
But
and
interesting, her family, she comes from her mom was an acting coach, I believe, which is pretty interesting. So she's kind of prepped for this stuff.
Fascinating. Did you see Lost Girls? Because I heard it was really good, and then I never watched it.
I have not. Yeah.
So
was Thomasin in that?
It's not quite a horror, but it's like a mystery drama about murders of young female sex workers. So this is clearly, kind of a theme that she has become attached to in movies.
I think it's an important thing. She's also in The Power of the Dog, which just keeps popping up on.
My parents are obsessed with it. Yeah. Everybody I talk to loves it. Every woman over the age of 50 that talks to me about it tells me that Benedict Cumberbatch is the best looking man ever. Again,
another doctor, right?
Low standards, people.
Isn't Benedict a Doctor Who guy?
What I think he wasn't he? He was Sherlock, at least. I don't know if he was Doctor Who.
I think that's
okay.
I get those.
We're being very.
He's a Doctor Strange.
He's a Doctor Strange.
So he's a Doctor of Sorts.
I actually really like Doctor Strange. I thought that was fun.
Man, I feel like such a dum-dum sometimes when I mix up those British things, those series, not seasons that they have.
So Mackenzie,
Eloise, right?
Yep, I find her to be a really spectacular actress, and this is one of those performances that is making me go back and look at the things that she's been in before and watch them. I also love that she was cast in Top Gun Maverick, but decided not to do it because she wanted to do more meaningful pieces. And I don't know this for sure.
Whoa, come on now.
But I think one of the things, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Top Gun fan.
I've actually never seen it.
But
are you surprised?
No, but I believe that one of the things she left to be involved in was Last Night in Soho because it was a more interesting piece for her.
Cool. Yeah. And we'll talk about Anya Taylor-Joy when we get to her in the plot a little bit. Eloise, who goes by Ellie, she is leaving town. Small town.
She lives with her grandma out in the countryside.
Never met her father. Her mom tragically took her life.
Yep.
And she has been seeing her mother's not ghost reflection for the most part.
Yeah, it's a bit dextery, I would say.
Especially considering that her mother wasn't mentally well. This is a concerning thing. And
right. Everybody's worried about Ellie. Her grandmother's really concerned about her going to the city because she knows, obviously, the big city
moving from Cornwall to London.
Yep.
The London College of Fashion.
Correct.
And you attended the London College of Fashion.
I did, actually. Yeah. That's why I'm so fashionable.
I mean, you do love a flowy dress.
I love a flowy dress. Hey, I started buying high-waisted pants like
Is that right?
6 months ago.
It's a new thing?
I mean,
you're wearing clear frames.
Now that they're finally out again.
Blue blockers and high-waisted. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess, well...
I'm always
funny.
late.
You're shifting. Right when the baggy came back, you're ditching the flares for high-waisteds. Yep. Only 10 years off. Not bad.
Well, no. I mean,
She shows up at college. She's got this, what's the name of the woman, her roommate? Yocasta. She sucks.
She's a mean girl.
But she starts out kind of nice. You can tell that she's insecure. Like, you pick the bully so you're not the one bullied. Type situation.
Yeah, I think that's very much the case.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of puts a cloud over the excitement that Ellie's feeling about moving to the city and following her dream to become at least working on her own fashion stuff, which she has a very unique perspective, diving back into an era that she loves, the 1960s.
Yes.
Which I don't give a single crud about.
Kelly. Oh, see, I love it.
And I think that's why I was less why I am going to be less enthusiastic about this film.
Okay.
It's just not my thing.
I love it.
Unless it's Austin Powers yelling, "Yeah,
baby."
About,
like, even if you don't love it, like the set design and the costume design and like it's so beautiful when they do those retrospective dream sequences.
Yeah, which we'll talk about that. Ellie decides to move out of the dorms because she has a couple, her roommate throws some parties and is very disrespectful. One night she comes home after a night out and aggressively has sexual
very aggressively
relations with someone she met and throws her clothes over onto her side of the room, disregards that she's even there. Yep. It's pretty,
classic example of Ellie cannot learn about herself from this rude roommate.
Right.
She's only learning about the rude roommate.
You ever had a rude roommate like that?
No.
I don't think I have either.
I had a roommate in college who did stuff like that, but it wasn't rude.
It wasn't intentional. It was
no, and I actually really liked her boyfriend too. It was just I was kind of like, okay, guys, seriously.
I was talking more about like having the parties, but if you're listen and being able to hear people having sex with each other, it's interesting. But she decides to move out of the dorms and get a room of her own, a place above Café du Paris. I've never been there. Have you been to London?
Only the airport.
Cool. How was it?
The food wasn't great.
Oh, okay.
Somebody mistook me for a celebrity, though. I was wearing sunglasses. Somebody came up and asked me for an autograph, and I didn't have any idea who they thought I was, but I just signed a piece of paper.
It could have been the government.
I don't know. Could be.
Could have been anything.
Could be.
She meets the woman that you started talking about, the landlord, whose name is
Ms. Collins.
And Ms. Collins seems pretty cold. She's got the standard rules for people sharing flats. No boys after 8.
No boys. She's very old school.
The room was decorated in a very specific style, set in the 60s, and she's like, well, if you don't like it, you can get a room somewhere else. But, Ellie likes it, so.
Yes.
She finds a way to pay for this, as well as some new clothes that she's buying and a haircut by working at a pub.
Yep, bartender.
Yep.
And this pub is like an old school British pub. This is one of the things that I like about British culture. The whole British pub thing just seems very homey. Well, yeah, probably isn't, because my only understanding of it is through movies. But this pub owner kind of takes
her under the wing a
little bit. Yeah, not like to a high degree, but a little bit. So it becomes very clear up front that Ellie identifies with older people much easier than she does with younger people. She's a bit of an odd person out, and she's an old soul, if you will. And so she has an easier time connecting with people, say, 20 to 50 years older than her than she does with people her own age.
Yeah, but
except for one guy.
She's inspired. Before we get to that gentleman, who I really do think is a standout.
Oh, he was awesome in this movie.
The first night at the new place, she experiences quite the night through the eyes of Sandy, played by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yep.
Anya, we've been following her entire career, it seems.
I do love her. Queen's Gambit was so fun last year.
Still haven't seen it.
God, I loved it.
I know it was like a very popular quarantine show. It just wasn't my thing.
I really loved it.
Interesting. She is widely thought to have gotten her acting start in
The Witch.
Double V Witch.
Yep.
But she was actually in a deleted scene in Vampire Academy.
Yep, she
from
was.
the year before, which I didn't know that. Do you know that Vampire Academy, I believe the book is based in Montana.
Is it?
A Vampire Academy hidden in the woods of Montana. So that's kind of... At least last I remember. I could be completely wrong about that. But
wow. Okay.
Anya, she's seen her career kind of skyrocket since then. She was in Morgan and Morgan, which I don't know. That was fine.
I didn't
love it.
I didn't see it.
But her performance in Split was incredible. We covered Marrowbone as well. I saw Thoroughbreds that she was in with Olivia Cook.
You liked that?
I did. She was in the follow-up to Split, Glass, which I saw and didn't really care for, but...
That's okay.
I'm not really a big M. Night action guy.
You know that she's also going to be in the newest Eggers movie, The Northman.
Yeah.
Yep. And she's going to be doing a movie with David O. Russell, who is, as you know, like basically one of my favorites of all time.
Sure is. Yeah.
And here's the thing. You want to hear something cool? I'm sorry, but I have to say this because I think it's like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like David O. likes to do. They're not releasing any details of the plot, but listen to this cast, and her name is at the top of it.
Okay.
Margot Robbie, Christian Bale, Robert De Niro, Michael Shannon, John David Washington, Rami Malek, Zoe Saldana, Mike Myers, Chris Rock, Taylor Swift, and
is this
she's
one
at
of those
the head.
Like Valentine's Day movies? I
Could
know
be.
Taylor was in that one, right?
I have no idea. She's at the top of that list. So clearly she is like killing it right now.
Great company. Yeah.
She's also going to be in Furiosa, which is super exciting. It's like this spin-off from Mad Max.
Yeah.
And she's playing Furiosa, the role that Charlize played in the movie.
She's incredible. She's an incredible actress. It's been cool to watch her career. And in this film, she does a pretty incredible job being Sadie, a very, very confident woman trying to solidify her place in the London nightlife community.
Yes.
She goes into a club where she tries to get a job right off the bat, tries to meet the owner because she thinks that she could be the star.
Yep.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown.
And she ends up meeting a guy there, played by Matt Smith.
Neanderthal forehead man.
His name is Jack. When she's approached by a man who's trying to, it's pretty obvious what this older gentleman is trying to do with this younger woman. Get a dance with her and see where it goes. Jack promptly punches that man in the face.
Knight in shining armor.
And run off into the night without a K. He says that he can make her a star. He becomes her manager. They have,
and of course, this is what she's dreamed of, right?
Yeah.
Like this is, and not just what Sandy's dreamed of, but also what Eloise has.
And Eloise is seeing all of this through the eyes of Sandy.
Yep. And so she really starts to attach to this world and is like, kind of getting through daily life, but really looking forward to going back into existing as Sandy in her sleep.
Well, Jack and Sandy share this kiss, and then when she wakes up, she's just experienced all this. So it kind of further leads her down the road of craving that 1960s world. And it inspires her heavily. She changes the way she looks.
She starts making her clothes at her fashion institute in this kind of design.
Catches the eyes of the professor and also makes everyone else kind of jealous. Also catches the eye of a really sweet guy.
Oh my God, the nicest boy, John.
John, played by Michael Ageo. This guy's so sweet.
Oh my gosh, he was not just like a really great, sweet character in the movie, but a really good actor.
It kind of reminds me of the guy that we talked about last week, Jack Quaid. From Happy Death Day.
Yes, you're right.
This really, really kind guy who he pulls everyone in with like his eyes and the way he's
super sweet.
He's the best.
He is the best.
Absolutely love this guy.
Great.
He puts up with way too much. Honestly.
Way too much.
He tries so hard to get the attention of Ellie. And, it's hard because she's dealing with her own shit.
Right. And he's so kind and patient and persistent in like a non-creepy way.
No, he drank her soda when she used to live in the dorm, and he got a replacement soda that said sorry on it instead of the one that he was drinking that had her name. I thought that was a really nice moment. So I can't believe I just did an Alex Jones. How he never says a real sentence without leading in like a dipshit.
That's okay.
Okay. There's this movie, the first 40 minutes, I found pretty enjoyable, except this is a horror podcast. It's a lot to wait.
I disagree.
And
Slow burn does not negate its status as a horror movie.
I don't know, man. And even when it does...
We're just talking about the Beach, right?
That's a folk horror story. The position that they're put in is horrific to begin with. They've been ousted from a community.
Yeah, and she's been ousted... like
socially. This isn't Mean Girls, Kelly.
Okay, I'm just saying
it's kind of. Mm-hmm. And even the darkness really kind of slowly enters this film. The dreams continue. Her obsession with this style and this world continues, and I guess she meets some different characters along the way. Some that she met while at the bar, like that creepy old man who knows everyone.
I think they actually refer to him as the silver-haired man.
I thought they called him Hansy. Wasn't that the nickname they gave him?
I mean, maybe. It's funny because I thought it was Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, really? Okay. It's not.
It's not. No,
Absolutely.
It's Terrence Stamp.
Silver-haired gentleman, yeah.
Yeah, but he's been in a ton of stuff too. Most notably, I'm going to say General Zod and Superman.
Oh, wow. That is a big role.
Yeah.
The nights experiencing eyes through Sandy continue, but... careful what you wish for might come true. The world that she thought she was entering turns out to be much more like just a horrific sex trafficking nightmare.
Horrific. Just like everything. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's even beyond Me Too. This is just full blown.
It's not Me Too. I mean, it's sex trafficking.
Right. It's full blown like forced prostitution.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really sad.
Jack, who's supposed to be this knight in shining armor, he
becomes
I guess
way worse than anything she ever could have
believe that
imagined.
he's done this before? Is that kind of
Yes.
is Sandy even his number one here?
I don't think so.
He propositions her to an older guy and says he doesn't mind, right?
Right. And part of it is he does it because he knows her vulnerable point is that she wants to be famous. She wants to be a singer.
This is what you got to do.
Puts all of it as like, well, this is what you got to do this, until she's so hollowed out in terms of her own self-esteem that now it becomes clear that was never in the cards, and that really all she is, you know, a tool for him to use to make money. And
he
it's really
placed her
gross.
as a background dancer in basically a burlesque show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not what she was looking for.
Nope, not at all.
That's a heavy moment, but you see what I'm saying? How that's not directly like, well, I don't want to say sex trafficking isn't directly horror, but it wasn't what the film eventually became.
Correct.
It takes baby steps into the genre. But
Yep. Then it's the murder mystery.
And also the ghost in real life.
So spooky
that Ellie
those
is
ghosts were.
experiencing because it's not.
She starts seeing ghosts of these men that were sleeping with Sandy.
Yeah. they're
And in
like
many cases, like borderline raping Sandy. And sometimes just straight up raping
It's pretty
Sandy.
fucked up. However, and you know, there was a lot of tension in these moments where she's running from these ghosts. But how many times is she going to run smack dab into a ghost before I lose the tension? You
Well,
know?
I never lost it. So that's a you problem.
Well, it is a me problem. I think the tension I felt that was more effective was that she was, I guess, seeing her from the outside. Like John's character, the guy who has a crush on her, seeing her reacting through his eyes, or the people in her art class, or people that are seeing her run through Soho, you know?
Yeah.
I'm feeling this concern for her because it's pretty obvious that she's losing grip with reality.
Right. And
I was more afraid of that than the ghost itself, you know?
Well, and I was, you know, creeped out by a silver-haired man and what's going on with him.
Sure,
and
it's an interesting
is he,
arc.
like, stalking her? And then it's a bit of a red herring.
I don't know how much we want to get into that, really.
Should we just not do any more spoilers?
Probably
then?
not.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think that was the most effective part of it, this descent into madness in public, more so than the supernatural elements. That's what I enjoyed more of.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I liked, I don't know, in a weird way, when I went to Chicago and went to law school, I felt super out of place in almost a similar way to the way that Ellie did.
Yeah.
I kind of identified with that, and that might be one of the reasons that I really liked it.
Sure.
I just thought the performances were fantastic. I thought the script was good. I thought there was a meaningful relationship at the heart of it with John, and it was something I cared about and really wanted to see how it played out. I also just found all of the characters super compelling, and even though we're not doing spoilers, I think that it was interesting that by the end, the line between good guy and bad guy was pretty blurry.
Yeah. The third act is really, I mean, it's a well-written story.
It is a really well-written story, and it's beautiful, and there's just some incredible actors in it, and I really do think Edgar Wright just does an amazing job. So I know I liked it more than you, Byron, but that's okay. I won't be mean to you about that.
Why would you be mean to me?
I mean, sometimes I just am. Sometimes that's how I validate my own opinions, but I'm not going to.
Kind of like the bully.
A little bit like the bully, yeah. I do think everybody should watch this movie. I know it got a lot of attention last year, but I do believe it was for a good cause. For those of you who do not like super violent things, just as a warning, the third act gets more bloody. So, I mean, like, case in point.
Do you usually warn people about the content of
So the
films?
reason I was thinking about it is my mother loved the start of it and then called and yelled at me about the end of it.
Okay, so this one's just going out to
my mom,
my former English teacher.
Yep.
All right.
I give Last Night in Soho 7.5 fashion mannequins.
Yeah, I mean, there's no debating that Edgar Wright doesn't know how to make a great film. I think that there's no debating that he doesn't know how to make a... There's no debating that Edgar Wright knows how to make a great film.
Correct.
Extremely talented. I mean, the way it's edited is incredible. And of course, his go-to thing of incorporating music throughout in a really key way. I think that stuff is all very impressive. He's technically a great storyteller. This just wasn't necessarily my era.
It isn't your era.
There wasn't a performance I didn't think was competently executed. I love seeing Thomas and Mackenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy play off each other, even though they never directly really
very little
acknowledge
that
each other. It's minimal.
They're both such great actresses.
And Matt Smith, he's fine. But the John character, I loved him. I really was like sucked into that, you know?
He's been in very little too. I looked him up and it didn't say that there was anything upcoming, but I hope he is doing some new stuff
too,
because
and
he
I
seems
think that
amazing.
he will out of this, you know, much like Jack Quaid. He doesn't have the Quaid name, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully he can.
Edgar, he knows how to make an entertaining movie, even if it's 2 hours long. I wasn't bored. I had a good time watching this. I watched it in two halves because I actually started Euphoria as well.
Oh, I've heard it's good, but it's really depressing.
Heavy,
So
very heavy stuff. But I finished it up this morning. It's good. It's a good movie, just not necessarily a Byron movie. So for those reasons, I got to give Last Night in Soho 6.4 LPs. And those are our thoughts on Last Night in Soho, which is available now physically and on VOD. If you missed it theatrically, now it's available for you to check out. So
yes.
Once you have, let us know what you think about it. You could reach us on Twitter at Frightday. Instagram's the same thing. Send us an email, contact@frightday.com, or we can talk about it in the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Frightday, or in the Discord server, discord.frightday.com. We've got an online store that's going to have some new stuff coming to it, not necessarily just shirts. A super secret surprise thing that will be announced to Frightday Society members first, of course. So if you want to know, why don't you join the Frightday Society?
It's a hot item off the presses.
It sure is, right off it.
Hot.
We may be fueled by Spring Hill Jack coffee, but it's the members of the Frightday Society who keep us from going places when we fall asleep.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I really enjoyed our video episode last week that we did about Zachary Bagans.
Yes.
His student film Red Butterfly. I've been dropping those interviews with folks exclusively to FDS members as well. You get behind the screens episodes every week. The first 10 episodes of the podcast are there. Byron Serial Corner, The Writer's Room, Toast to Toast PM with Wine Kelly. We got to be doing a cinema autopsy pretty soon here. I think we're doing The Abyss next. But yeah, if you like and value the show that we make, consider becoming a member at cult.frightday.com. You could also leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify now.
Really?
Yeah, Spotify has a star system, so it's really quick. If you haven't starred us yet,
and you probably do that.
Listen to us on Spotify, just click the stars. I would really, really appreciate it. Don't know what it does. Don't know if there's a metric that it pushes up. I don't know if they have a chart system, but imagine they're collecting information for some reason. So
where do you do the stars, Byron?
Make us look good. I think it has to be on the phone app. I honestly have no idea, but love you guys. Appreciate you so much. Think that this is the most excited I've been for our podcast in a bit. I'm going to be honest.
So much great stuff happening.
But Kelly,
yep.
Until next time, where are you going to be?
Oh, I'm probably going to be doing a lot of research. Email me, kelly@frightday.com.
Prepping for a big project.
Oh my God, so big, and I'm so excited. You can see me on Twitter once in a blue moon. At Kelly Frightday on Twitter.
Sometimes Discord. You popped in one time and now your presence is echoing and people are requesting it.
Okay, well, I'll come back.
All right.
I got too many.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, but I do love interacting with all of you. So, I'm trying. I'm trying to be more engaged, but you can always engage with Byron. He's dangerously and unhealthily available to all of you.
Yeah, places like at Byron McKoy on Twitter and Instagram, byron@frightday.com. That's my email address. I'm in Discord too much.
That's all right.
And until next Frightday, I'm Byron.
I'm Kelly. Stay in your decade.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, God.
You've been listening to an Audio Wool original, produced by Byron McKoy, theme music provided by Cemeteries. For more programs like this, visit audiowool.co.